You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's talk about three players that fit the profile of excellent defenders and also someone who could be the best player on an NCAA tournament team. We're talking big fish here on Locked On Syracuse, something that Syracuse definitely needs to make it back into the NCAA tournament. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, Syracuse is going to land one of these three guys. I'm predicting it right here, right now, right? I'm not doing that. This is meant to give you an idea of what I believe, and hopefully maybe you feel the same way, and hopefully Syracuse feels the same way, of what they should still be looking for in the transfer portal. We're not talking minor moves. I like Jerry Dang. If Syracuse ends up with Jerry Dang, I think that would be a fine addition, but he does not qualify as a big fish. He's more of a role player. Jerry Dang is the forward from Florida State, who they're rumored to be going after at minimum. So let's talk about the three players. I talked about one briefly in the last segment. Darrion Williams from Texas Tech, a 6'6" forward. Last season, Darrion Williams over at Texas Tech averaged 15 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, over 3.5 assists. He shot 44% from the field and 34% from the three-point line. He's also a really good defender. He had an Evan Maya defensive rating of 1.98 last season. That means if Darrion Williams is on the floor with 9 average Division I basketball players, the team with Darrion Williams would be about 2 points better defensively per 100 possessions than the other team. Does that make sense to you all? Again, it basically is like baseball WAR, wins above replacement. This is essentially points above replacement. So Darrion Williams is a pretty good defender at 1.98 last season. For context, last time Syracuse had a player get a grade of, I guess, 1.98 or above, or if you want to round up to 2.0 or above, you got to go back to the last time Syracuse actually made the NCAA tournament, which was in 2021. Can you guess it? I think I said it before here on this channel. 3, 2, 1. Kadari Richmond in 2021 had an Evan Maya defensive grade of 2.13. And for more context, last season, Syracuse didn't have a single player who was 1 point better, I guess, than the average Division I defender. So Darrion Williams would certainly fit Syracuse. He is currently testing the NBA draft water, so it's a long transfer portal process with him, but it's something that we should keep an eye on. Odds that Syracuse gets him, I mean, every blue blood in the country is probably going to want him, so I would say very unlikely. But again, this is meant to be, or meant to give you an idea of some of the players that Syracuse needs to target in the transfer portal. And if they're out of money, call up the donors and figure out a way to get the money. All right? There's no salary cap in NIL. Number 2, this player entered the transfer portal yesterday. I think it's slightly more realistic, but still going to be a very difficult get. And that is Jamir Watkins from Florida State, a 6'7" forward. Again, entered the portal yesterday, also testing the NBA draft waters. Ironically, it's the same thing he did last season. He was in the portal, decided to withdraw from the portal and return to Florida State. We'll see what he does this year. The reason why I think he's a little bit more realistic, but still unlikely, 2 reasons. He's from Trenton, New Jersey. Okay, so Northeast kid. And number 2, there's ACC familiarity. We already saw with Nate George and Ibrahim Soare. It's fairly common to see players in general transfer within the same conference. Pretty common. Last season, Jamir Watkins, he averaged 18 points per game. That's pretty good. 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 43% from the field, 32% from the three-point line. Not as good of a defender as Darrion Williams, but still got a very respectable 1.43 rating on defense last year over on Evan Maya. And finally, we got Dillon Mitchell from Cincinnati, a 6'8" forward. He is a clear third option of these 3 players, in my opinion, but I would still love him for Syracuse. We're going to talk about the good with Dillon Mitchell, and then we'll get to the bad with Dillon Mitchell. The good, excellent scorer inside, and I don't know, he's just one of the best defenders in the entire country. How's that? Does that sound good to you? He can score inside, physical, can rebound. And oh, by the way, he's one of the top defenders in the country. He averaged 10 points per game last season, 7 rebounds. He shot 61% from the field, and his Evan Maya defensive rating was, you ready for it? A 3.68. 3.68. That was third best in the Big 12 a year ago. Last time Syracuse had a player get that grade or above over on the Evan Maya tool. It's not perfect, but just for some context, the last time Syracuse had a player get that grade or higher, 3.68, you got to go all the way back to the 2011-2012 season. Can you take a guess as to who that player is? 3, 2, 1. If you guessed James Sutherland, you would be correct. He had an Evan Maya defensive rating that year of 4.38. It's a long time ago since Syracuse had a defender as good as Dillon Mitchell. He'd be pretty good for Syracuse. Just saying. If they can go after him, that'd be great. The only bad part is there's this thing called shooting, and he can't really do that. To be blunt with you all, he is an awful shooter. He doesn't really take threes as a result, which is a pretty good thing. If you're not a good shooter, then don't shoot from distance. Last season, he took a career-high 1 3-point attempt per game, and he made less than 30% of them. He also shoots less than 50% at the free throw line for his career. Yes, Dillon Mitchell shoots less than 50% from the free throw line. So he's almost like the opposite of Chris Bell, except I think he does a lot more things well compared to Chris Bell. Imagine if he had the shooting ability of Chris Bell. He'd be like the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. I believe he's a former 5-star player, so he's certainly got plenty of talent. Bottom line is, if Syracuse ended up with one of those 3 players that I just mentioned to you, Dillon Mitchell, Jamir Watkins, Darrion Williams, that is what puts Syracuse into the NCAA tournament. And even if you feel that they're an NCAA tournament team already, well, then they just got even better. And now you could start thinking about what seed they're going to be. You could say, oh, Jackson, I think they're a tournament team already, but you add in Jamir Watkins, maybe they're a 6th seed in March Madness, or maybe higher. Maybe they're preseason top 25. Can never have enough good players, especially good players that can defend.